On the road looking for a win against an Eastern Conference rival. The Chicago Bulls are ready for this thing to get started. Glad to have you with us for more NBA action. I'm Kevin Harlan, introducing the rest of the 2K broadcast team. Steve Kerr, Clark Kellogg, and sideline reporter Doris Burke. Our starting lineups will look at the matchups here and who we'll see for our starting five for both teams. One of the game changers in the NBA. We'll be watching Dwayne Wade.
And Kevin, he's really solidified his role as the closer on this team. You know, Miami struggled to figure out whether they'd go to LeBron or Bosh or Wade at first. I think Wade has become the guy.
Well, I tell you what, it's nice to have two guys that are capable of closing, Steve. And I agree with you, though. His aggressiveness and confidence probably give him a slight edge in closing over LeBron. You can play great defense on him, but he still typically finds a way to get the shot he wants.
They're just off a road trip, and the Heat are looking to settle back in here at home. They've been picking up some steam, and if they can play this well all season, they'll be in excellent shape.
You know, for some teams, it takes a little time to get into a groove, to find the traction you need to start the season, but not for this squad. I mean, they've been playing like they have a chip on their shoulder. I like the edge I see out of them.
Yeah, I like it too. They're playing angry. I mean, they're really taking it at people, being aggressive, looking to attack right from the outset.
Now here's Dang. Not too proud of his numbers in that game against the Nuggets, that's for sure. Butler dishes to Dang. Oh, trying for it. Shot clock at 2. Off his foot. And the official saying it was kicked. Miami on defense. Boozer kicks it to Noah. The pass to Rose. Just 5 to shoot. Chalmers with it. Averaging 10 points per contest. LeBron outside. Dishes it to Bosh. And the shot is good. Bosh has got the first points up on the board for the Heat.
Well, you know, with LeBron James as the main post threat on Miami, the outside shooting touch of Chris Bosh fits perfectly to help them space the floor, and he continues to expand his range.
Dang with it. Now guarded by Haslam. And it's Rose penetrating. The kick out to Dang. Fires for 3. Gets it to go. Dang's got himself going with the triple, his first basket of the game.
Boy, I tell you what, he loves getting looks like that from the three-point line. No one near him. That's a warm-up jumper for him.
You talk about Bosh in his shooting range. He's trying to develop a reliable three-point shot as well.
Well, it's happened. In the playoffs last year, he shot a lot of threes. It's kind of a function of the Miami offense, trying to provide floor spacing for LeBron and Wade. But in some ways, it takes Bosh away from what's made him good, too, the slashing and the ability to score around the basket.
The first quarter of action, 2 minutes in. And let's get this update now from Doris Burke, who's across the way on the sideline.
Kevin, I was able to speak with Eric Spoelstra for a moment. He said that their defensive focus, no surprise, will be trying to keep Derrick Rose out of the lane. He added, "You know he's come a long way as an outside shooter, but he's a pick-your-poison type of player. We can't let him get into the paint." Makes sense, Kevin.
Thanks again, Doris. Now we've got a break in the action. Let's catch up with our good friend, Damon Bruce.
Thanks so much, Kevin. Let's quickly bring up the scores from the games that already are in the books. For Milwaukee, a loss to the 76ers in Philadelphia. It was the Lakers taking the win at Staples Center over the Warriors. So now that's 2 in a row for them. That's all we have for you here in the studio until the Sprint halftime report. Until then, back to Kevin Harlan and the gang.
Great update, Damon. Thank you.
Yeah, this isn't the only game going on today. The schedule is really full. A lot of things going on out there.
And the Bulls making a change here. Gibson's checked in. And both free throws good for LeBron.
Well, I tell you what, you consider all the injuries the Bulls had last year, and you look at the 34-18 mark against the Eastern Conference, and it's absolutely remarkable considering what they had to go through personnel-wise.
Now here's Gibson. 9-point game his last outing. Here's Dang. And it's going to be a goaltending call here, so they'll count the bucket.
He didn't get to that one quite in time, Kevin. Those can be tough to gauge sometimes.
That whistle got a big response from this crowd, and it is not a favorable one, let's say.
I'll tell you what, the fans can't believe that they made that call.
1:12 left here in the first quarter. Here's Cole. Right now averaging 7 points a game. For Miami, they have had 2 chances at the line already, making them both.
And as a team, they're shooting about 75% on the year.
First free throw is good. He makes 1 of 2 that time. Well, it was Miami winning their last game against the Magic in Orlando.
They looked very stable, pretty much from the get-go, guys. A solid output, solid effort. And, you know, sometimes you'll see some inconsistencies come up in a road game, but they were pretty solid there.
I was very impressed with the balance they displayed, guys. Different people carrying the load, scoring, making assists, unselfish play. Everything was working for them to get that victory. That's a nice job of getting the ball in the paint and burying the shot. That's exactly how it's done.
Shot clock and game clock separated by less than 6 seconds. Wade passes to Allen. And there's the feed to Anderson. The jump hook. Can't get it to go. Nice D from Gibson. Heinrich kicks to Dang. Pass to Gibson. With 1 on the clock. Again, Chicago. And that does it for the first quarter. Bulls lead by 4. We've got more NBA basketball coming your way in just a minute.
The NBA season pushes on. The Houston Rockets.
All right, the second quarter beginning in just a moment. And before we move on, what do you guys think about what we've seen so far from the Bulls?
Just the start they wanted to this game. Solid offense. They got good ball movement. They established a nice rhythm.
Yeah, not stagnant at all. Free-flowing and fluid at the offensive end.
Last game for the Bulls, it was a loss to the Nuggets in Denver.
And one of the factors in that game was they just couldn't get to the foul line and get enough points from the free throw line to make a difference.
And it gave those opposing fans a boost every time another foul shot clanked off the rim. They were letting them hear about that.
D-Wade, the 2, with Ray Allen at the 3. Chris Anderson out there with Shane Battier, and it's Cole in at the 1 spot. That's the group on the floor for Miami. Let's go now to the sideline and catch up with Doris Burke. Hey, Doris.
Well, gentlemen, despite what you might have heard from the talking heads, it was another great season for D-Wade. Last season leading all shooting guards in player efficiency rating. A natural slasher, he's adjusted brilliantly to playing without the ball in his hands. Coach Eric Spoelstra said, quote, "The evolution of his game has been stark in terms of added weapons and dimensions over the years. His development in that post-up game has allowed that to happen. His movement and cutting off the ball tripled what it used to be. That took an understanding and an IQ of how to get involved when the ball wasn't in his hands. Guys, the great ones always find a way."
They definitely do. Thanks, Doris. Chicago leading. The Heat beat them last time when these 2 teams met down in South Florida.
Yeah, this contest didn't go well for them last time out. They played a very undisciplined game, got into foul trouble, and wound up not having the unit they would have liked to have on the floor down the stretch.
And the first time out of the game called for Chicago. Well, give us your take on what Steve just talked about, Clark. They dug themselves a real hole with foul trouble in that game.
And one of the disappointing things, Kevin, was it was their leaders that lost control. And you don't expect guys that lead your club to lose their composure the way they did.
You expect more of them.
Yeah, you don't expect the mistakes we saw them making.
And so here is Chicago. Second quarter of action, about a minute and a half played. Allen dishes to Anderson. Back to Allen. He's covered by Dang. And he was fouled on the way up. 2 free throws now for him.
Really not hard to argue that Ray Allen is one of the greatest shooters of all time, but with his ability to stay healthy and still contribute, how much longer can he play? I mean, that shot isn't going away anytime soon, fellas.
That free throw good from Allen. You talk about the longevity of Ray Allen. He's had some ankle and foot injuries over his career, but his conditioning, Steve, has never been a question.
Never. And his style of play, where he runs defenders around, coming off screens, demands that kind of fitness, both from him and, of course, whoever's guarding him as well.
That one drops. He ties it up.
You know, no denying it's been a heck of a run the last few years for the Heat, but you can't help but wonder if the impending 2014 summer of free agency could be the end of it all. The big three came together in a flash of lightning, it seemed, but it could end just as fast if one or all decide to opt out.
He'd have gone 2 or 3 from the field here to open the second quarter. Bosh with it, now guarded by Gibson. Passes it to Wade. Backs in. Right block shot. Off the left rim and out. And Clark, as you were saying, the trio of LeBron, Wade, and Bosh all have options in their contracts to become free agents in 2014 if they choose to. And, Steve, you have to think that at least 1 or 2 of them might exercise that right.
Well, you know LeBron will, because he's the most underpaid athlete probably in the history of sports. He's worth 10 times what he makes. But it's going to be interesting to see what Miami does here the next couple of years with their roster.
Back to Allen. Right side Bosh. On the money from 12 feet away. Bosh has got his second basket of the night.
Look at the size discrepancy there between the defender and the shooter.
Well, those are warm-up jumpers. When there's not a hand in his face, he'll knock those down all day.
Gibson passes to Heinrich. No good. Great D that time from Cole. Miami trailing. Wade with it. Butler covering. Wade against Dang. Wade kicks to Cole. And that misses. That would have put him up. For Chicago, they've gone 3 of 4 from the floor here in the second quarter. Heinrich dishes to Butler. Pass to Dunleavy. For the 3. And it's D. Wade with the rebound. Kicks to Cole. Tries again. And it's good on the way in. And it's all knotted up.
Giving them an opportunity at second chance points with some hard work on the glass there.
It's all tied in Miami. We'll have the start of the third quarter for you shortly. But first, it's the Sprint Halftime Show with Damon Bruce.
Now, presented by Sprint.
You've got it on. In Philadelphia.
The Sprint Halftime Report, presented by Sprint.
We have a close ball game on our hands as we get set for the second half of basketball.
Guys, how about the Bulls being able to nab the 5th seed in the East last season, in large part due to how they were able to play on the road? Of course, when you play tough, solid defense like they do, it makes it easier to be competitive and string together road wins.
Here's who Tom Thibodeau is starting the second half with. D. Rose and Jimmy Butler, the backcourt. Up front, Boozer and Noah. And it's Dang in at the 3 slot. From the sideline, let's catch up with Doris Burke.
Well, gentlemen, head coach Eric Spoelstra of the Miami Heat finally getting the respect he deserves now with their multiple championships. But his players, not afraid to rib him a little. Dwayne Wade said Spoelstra's favorite word? Focus. He said, here's what it sounds like to play for my coach. Come on, guys, we have to focus. Next game. Come on, guys, it's about focus. Game 82. Guys, it's about focus. Kevin, it's all about that consistent message, right?
A steady hand, Doris. The players seem to really appreciate him. Shot clock at 6. Lets it go. No luck, and it's Miami the other way. And for the Bulls, defense is one of the few things in the NBA that can neutralize a home court advantage. And Steve, a big part of why they had the success they had on the road.
Yeah, they went 21-20 away from the United Center, and one of only 5 teams in the entire East who managed to stay above 500 away from home. That's a real tribute to this team and the coaching staff.
Chicago calls timeout.
You know, people look at Mario Chalmers and say he might not be your typical point guard. He's not a big-time penetrator or playmaker, but he's a good fit for the Heat with his active defense and spot-up shooting from long range. I think it's a hand-in-glove fit, actually.
And if you're just joining us, we played over a minute here in the third. Here's Boozer, and he was fouled in the act of shooting. Chance here now for a three-point play. And Chalmers, a 3-time All-American and NCAA champion his junior season at Kansas, received the Most Outstanding Player Award for that 2008 tournament.
Hit what was probably the biggest shot in Kansas history, the three-pointer that sent that game against Memphis into overtime that allowed the Jayhawks to go on and win that national championship.
That's good from Boozer.
Well, Miami stormed through the regular season and were viewed as the clear-cut favorites to come out of the East, but it was not as easy as expected. After sweeping Milwaukee, the Bulls gave them a scare, then the Pacers really took them deep all the way to Game 7 of the Eastern Conference Finals.
And Miami calls their first time out of the game. And for the Heat, the Pacers were their first real test, it seemed, and they had to survive a win or go home against them. It almost seemed, Clark, to take away any momentum they might have had when they went up against the Spurs in the finals.
You know, it's interesting. When I think of momentum in the playoffs, it doesn't carry over from game to game or series to series. I think each game, Kevin, is really an entity in and of itself. That said, Miami found a way, despite being pushed by the Pacers and being pushed by the Spurs, both to Game 7. It came down to LeBron James' brilliance, but also the hot shooting of a complimentary role-playing winner, Shane Battier.
Rose off the pick from Noah. Back to Boozer. Outside Dan. Feeds to Boozer. Haslam's there. Lock at 6. And it's good. Boozer's got 5 points now this quarter.
Back and forth we go. That basket gives us just another lead change.
And there have been too many of those to keep track of. What a contest.
The shot by Wade, no good. The Bulls have gone 2 of 3 from the field to start the second half. Chalmers against Rose. He dishes it to Boozer. He passes to Dent. It's stolen by Haslam. Oh, and a fast break for the Heat.
Oh, ridiculous. Tore it down that time.
Third quarter, guys, and this has been a neck-and-neck game.
Sure has been. I mean, guys, momentum is hard to come by in this one. I mean, it seems like one team gets the lead and then the other one storms right back.
Yeah, that is evidenced by the 8 lead changes we've seen so far.
Butler passes to Rose. Back to Butler. The kick out to Rose. Shot clock at 5. Rejected by Haslam. Butler against LeBron. The dish to Haslam. He kicks to Bosh. And Noah with the block. Now Rose. He's been patient so far. Nothing yet on the scoreboard. Then kicks to Butler. Right side, Butler. And he overshot that one, missing.
Boy, for my taste, he's far too inconsistent with that shot. I mean, he's got to make those if he's going to take his game to the next level.
He feeds it to Bosh. Back to LeBron. Haslam, a screen on Butler. Here's LeBron. Loses the defender with the screen and drills the jumper. LeBron's got 8 points. And here comes Rose. From deep. And released it in time, but it's off the mark. It's still anybody's game as we've reached the end of 3. Miami ahead. They lead by 3. And time to step aside quickly, but we'll be back in no time with the start of the fourth quarter.
Tune in next Wednesday, November 20th.
We welcome you back to what has been a good one here as we get into the fourth quarter. What do you guys think so far about the offensive approach for Miami?
They really excelled with their backs to the basket throughout the game, guys, dominating the post.
You know, they're taking care of business in the paint, too. Those are valuable points they've been getting down low.
All fueled up and ready to go. Let's reset the lineups courtesy of Gatorade for the fourth quarter. On the court for the Heat. On the wings, it's D. Wade and LeBron James. Chris Anderson out there with Chris Bosh. And it's Chalmers in at the guard position. Noah with a screen for Rose. Rose off the pick from Boozer. Double team on Rose. There's the pass to Noah. Dang. It's on target from the high post.
And, guys, Deng has developed into a very good shooter, especially off spot-ups or maybe one-dribble pull-ups. He's got range. He's developed that out to the three-point line. But he really likes to go to that mid-range area. One or two dribbles into the paint, he'll rise up and shoot right over the top.
But you know what I like about him most, Steve? Deng is a very well-balanced player. He does a lot of good things offensively, but he's just as good at the defensive end. He's a big key to his team's tough defense.
Udonis Haslem. He's checked in for Chris Anderson. We've played just over 1 minute here in the fourth quarter. Rose with the ball. Now guarded by Mario Chalmers. Rose kicks to Deng. 6 on the shot clock. Rebound by Mario Chalmers. Chalmers has got 4 rebounds now tonight. Haslem dishes to Bosh. The feet to Wade. Back to Chalmers. Pass to LeBron. And they force the shot clock violation. Great D.
You cannot afford to make mistakes like that here in a tight game.
Bulls trail by 3. And we're about 2 minutes into the fourth quarter now. Outside Deng. Back to Rose. 5 on the clock. And lots of contact there. Missing the shot. He'll shoot 2. Mario Chalmers picks one up. And let's briefly see what's happening around the league. David Bruce has something for us from our studio.
All right, Kevin, thanks so much. Let's take a look at the games from around the league that have already wrapped up. In Philadelphia, the 76ers take the win over the Bucks. A big boy win for them. They're able to pull it out in OT. Golden State with a loss to the Lakers out at Staples Center. And that'll be it for me here in the studio. Kevin?
And we appreciate the update, Damon. Thank you so much.
Well, it's an exciting time of the year. This early in the season, we learn a little more about each team every day.
And Rose drops them both.
He's got ice water in his veins, fellas. No way he's going to miss from the line when the game's still hanging in the balance. I've seen him make too many in this situation.
Now a timeout called by Miami. They're leading by 1. We've got 1:55 left here in the fourth quarter. And now Doris Burke has an update from the sideline.
Well, guys, I was able to listen in on what Eric Spoelstra was going over with his team in that last huddle. It's been a hard-fought game, and he just wanted to give his guys a chance to catch their breath, saying, listen, we're right there. Let's make a push right here, put some pressure on them. Let's come out swinging. Kevin?
Bosh passes to LeBron. It counts, and the foul. That's on Joakim Noah.
You know, his ability is matched only by his energy, guys. I mean, he's usually in the middle of everything for his team.
Well, it's an almost impossible task guarding him. He's so strong and quick. LeBron is like a locomotive bearing down. You see why teams have to give hard fouls to stop him, because a little bit of contact just is not going to be enough to stop him.
Hey, Steve, a lot of contact isn't enough to stop the freight train LeBron James. I mean, he draws so much attention defensively, but what makes him special is how he can punish a defense for overcommitting, because I think his greatest attribute amongst all of his great attributes is his passing ability.
Here is Rose. This is to Boozer. Passes it to Butler. Back to Boozer. 6 to shoot. The Bulls need to get a shot off here. And that one's good. Rose has got 5 points now in the quarter.
And that's what you love to do as the road team, Kevin. Hit the big shot to take the crowd right out of it.
Well, they've done that for sure.
They sure have. That shot right there had a huge effect on this crowd. Way to play in attack mode and get inside.
And, you know, if you're on defense and you're going to foul, make sure it's a good one. They did, preventing the and one.
He drops the first one, and that will put them up by 2. And he hits both free throws here. So now it's a 3-point game.
And that's how you do it, guys. I mean, free throws in a game like this can make a huge difference.
Throws off the pick from Noah. Stolen by Chalmers. Lost to Wade. Back to Chalmers. Good ball movement here by the Heat. And LeBron with the basket, the assist by Chalmers. And the Heat lead by 6.
His shooting's been outstanding. Definitely one of the reasons his team is up in this game.
Rose attacking. Kicks it to Noah. Dang. Just 5 on the clock. It's stolen by Hazard. And an intentional foul right there. He gets the first, and that makes it a 7-point lead. Second one is good. Being both at the line, and it's an 8-point game. Chicago calls timeout. They're down by 8. We've got 28 seconds left in the fourth quarter. We've played just over 3.5 minutes now in the fourth quarter. Rose goes in. That's good.
Took advantage of some shoddy defense there. They've got to at least get a finger on him.
And he commits the intentional foul. First free throw is good, and that makes it a 7-point lead. So Chicago going with an almost entirely new group here. Nazi Muhammad's checked in for Noah. Gibson comes in for Carlos Boozer. Mike Dunleavy, he's checked in for Luol Deng. And it's Heinrich in for Jimmy Butler. So he goes 2 for 2 at the line, and it's an 8-point game. 20 seconds left to play here in the fourth. For 3, Heinrich. Rebound by Ray Allen. Dunleavy for 3. Heinrich outside. A 3 ball. Here's Gibson. Missed it, even after all those chances. And so it's Miami winning this one. It was a solid win, Clark.
Yeah, it was, and I think it came down to will more than skill. They went out and got this one.
Well, it's time to say so long. For Clark Kellogg, Steve Kerr, and Doris Burke, this is Kevin Harlan, along with our 2K Sports crew, thanking you for tuning in. Now it's time to present our Jordan Player of the Game, LeBron James.